Happy Friday, and thank you so much for joining us on UpNorthLive Unscripted tonight. A beautiful start to the weekend, a lot of blue skies and some very comfortable temperatures. And it sounds like the weekend is going to be pretty similar. More blue skies and some more warm temperatures, right, Joe?
Yeah, you kind of said it just how it's going to be, yeah. Nice one coming up. Last night we had frost concerns and freeze concerns. The good news tonight, though, is none of that. We'll be in the 40s, so it'll be a little warmer tonight. But we really do. We have a nice weekend coming up. The weather looks fantastic. Of course, it's Mother's Day weekend, so we'll look at that. Now, eventually we are going to need some rain.
Right.
And there is some down the road. So we'll look at that, too, coming up in Maine weather.
All right, thank you so much, Joe. Our top story tonight is a pretty fun one. So, of course, there are quite a few RVs and campers in backyards of a lot of homes around northern Michigan, but one that is tucked away in Alberta in Benzie County is a little different from the rest. It's not necessarily getting ready to go out camping this weekend, but what it is doing is putting on a production every single day, and it's a pretty unique one. Mark Shillette has a story.
It can happen in storefronts, it can happen in trailers, it can happen in houses, it can happen in closets.
It could be a lot of things, but for David Beaton, it happens to be coming from this fifth wheel camper in his Alberta backyard.
Well, I was told by my partner it could not be in the house.
That travel trailer was donated to David by a friend because he needed space to launch Woo Woo.
Community radio is important because it's more than just radio, it's community. It's a building of friendships, relationships, conversations get started, people working together on a common mission that they share. So it's much bigger than radio.
Bigger than radio, even if that radio comes from a rather small space.
It's exactly what we need. We've got great lighting from all directions, full 360 weather view, and we like to call it the Woo Woo Tower to give it some grandiose sort of.
100.1 on the radio dial, and if you're within 10 miles or so, you can listen in.
We can spin vinyl. We've got CDs. We're building our CD collection.
And building up an audience to the round-the-clock offerings that touch on a little bit of everything.
In community radio, the programmers, the volunteers decide their genre, what type of music or what varied genres they want to play. We have a jazz and jam band show. We have jazz music overnight. We have Americana and folk in the morning. So it's stuff that you cannot hear on the mainstream radio.
And for 2 hours every weekday morning, shows like Sarah and Jesse's.
WU is a commentary on woo woo, because we're just sort of also some hippies in a trailer, like broadcasting out into the community. It's also the name of our morning show, What's Up With You?
Debuting on the air last fall and hitting its stride. Volunteers adding their voices and their flavor to what goes out to the masses.
I tend to interview folks who are bringing something unique to the community, whose voices might not otherwise be heard.
Tucked away in a Benzie backyard, a little trailer serving a big purpose.
Everybody wants to connect. When you connect, you reduce fear and people feel safer and life is better. So I say life is better with community radio.
And that was Mark Shillette reporting. Mark is going to join us live now to talk a little more about this awesome story. And Mark, what I think is really cool about this is if you're driving by David's house and you see the RV, you probably just think, oh, it's just an RV. You wouldn't think there was a radio station inside. But if you're listening on the radio, you'd think, oh, this is coming from a radio station. You wouldn't think it's coming from an RV.
No, you would have no idea in either situation what exactly was going on, which I think makes it kind of awesome and kind of cool. And David actually, he's had a long history in radio and film work and stuff like that. A pretty incredible career. But he actually was like, I want to start this radio station. And so he put the feelers out around town, and a buddy said, hey, I've got an old trailer that I need to move off a piece of property. You can have it if you want it. And so that's how it ended up in an RV. That and his partner said, we're not doing this in the house. So he went and got the trailer. And honestly, when I was driving out there, all I knew was they got a trailer and they run a radio station out of it. I was expecting it to be very dark and cramped and closed in because let's face it, a lot of travel trailers are kind of dark, closed down, and cramped in. It's an awesome little space they have in there. They've kind of, I mean, right behind where they sit when they're doing the radio show, there's a range and a refrigerator.
Oh.
I mean, it is a camper that has been converted to a radio station. But that's the only thing about it that makes it an unusual community radio station. There are so many things about it that make it a traditional community radio station. They are there to serve the community, hyper local, to give voices to people that otherwise might not be heard, and to share information with their viewers, and to share entertainment and music and everything like that with their listeners that otherwise may not have that. It's kind of a small zone. It's about 10 miles if you're in your car, and they say that people have better success listening to them on a car than even at home at that 10-mile range. But it's just that 10-mile circle around that RV where they put this signal out, and folks are able to listen to it.
And they have different radio shows and programming 24/7?
24/7, which kind of shocked me because I thought, oh, maybe they do a little bit here and a little bit there. Yeah. They have programming throughout the day and on the weekends, and some local content with local shows. And some of it is music, some of it is talk. This morning when I was there, they did a pretty decently linked segment on composting. So they'll talk about anything. But then they do have a garage band show. They have jazz in the overnight hours, so I assume that's kind of unmanned. But other than that, yeah, they have a variety of things. And because it's community radio, it's kind of whatever the presenter, the volunteer presenter that's behind the mic wants to showcase that day. But it's structured. But in the same regards, it has a lot of flavor to offer.
Yeah, so it's something different, and it sounds like a little something for everyone. And is it all volunteers?
That's my understanding, and they are taking applications to if you want to come be a volunteer presenter, they'd like to talk to you about it. So yeah, these are all people that want to be on the radio and want to serve that function for the community of starting conversations, building friendships, getting people connected. David talked a lot about the importance of that connection, and sometimes you can make that connection through this format of radio.
Sure. And you mentioned that it goes out on the air to a 10-mile radius. So if anyone who is watching right now outside of that 10-mile radius from the Alberta area, is there any way that they can listen?
Absolutely. You can listen anywhere in the world to Woo Woo on the internet. So they do stream. So if you're in your car, you probably need to be 8 to 10 miles away. But if you want to check it out, we got a link on our website right now with this story. And you just click on it and you can listen to it. You can listen to whatever show. They also have for each day of the week, because it changes every single day. For each day of the week, there's a schedule with that day's what the shows will be that day. So you can be like, oh, I really like American bluegrass, and so I'm gonna listen to the American Bluegrass show. It's a really neat endeavor, and these are people that are just passionate about doing what they do, and you got to love people like that.
Absolutely. And you said when you first got there, you were a little shocked at how much space was in the RV, how bright it was. Was there anything else that really shocked you about actually going there and seeing all this in person?
Well, yes. It takes place inside an RV. So your expectations of perhaps the quality of the product, the quality of the people, or the quality of what goes out over the air might be what you think is radio that comes from an RV. It's not the case at all. They know what they're doing. This is not somebody in the basement playing around with stuff. It is just like any other radio station, other than the fact it's coming to you from an RV.
Which makes it even more unique.
I love this story. I thought it was really cool that these people are finding a way to do something to bring their community together. They serve probably a 7,000 or 8,000 person audience within that 10-mile region. And they want to be there for each and every one of them, and they want to hear from all of them. And they're like, not everything we do is going to be everybody's cup of tea, but if you wait a little bit, we'll probably get to your cup of tea.
Well, Mark, that is such a great story. Thank you so much for sharing even more details with it to us. And we are going to switch gears now, talking about the growing season here in northern Michigan. The asparagus crop is beginning to sprout around northern Michigan, and our meteorologist Trevor Robideau caught up with some farmers to talk about what they expect for the crop this year and how the weather could affect it.
May is here, and that means the asparagus crop is starting to crown up in many farms here around northern Michigan.
It takes me about a month to get ready because we do sell fresh and deliver. So I got a lot of, and we wash it and trim it and everything in the pole barn. So it takes about a month to really get everything ready and get the field ready. And I just mowed here on Monday, so it's quite a project.
The asparagus crop is starting to grow, but it's not quite ready yet. Farmers that we spoke to are hoping to get to picking and setting up their stands by next week.
I'm hoping to start picking Monday and maybe open our farm stand by Wednesday.
Key factors for good growth include the temperature and moisture. Farmers say the upcoming warm-up will be beneficial, but being warm at night also helps a lot. But it can't be too warm.
I would want plenty of moisture, and I would like 75 degrees every day.
You know, the biggest factor is a warm night, the warm nights. When we start getting the temperatures in the, upper 50s and in the 60s at nights, then it's growing at night also.
But those warmer nights also help with frost, which is something all farmers with asparagus crops will have to contend with through the month of May.
Because we have had frost right into late May, so it can happen. Usually 15th to the 20th is kind of the end of the frost probabilities.
Around the state, the crop overall is on schedule and is in great shape.
Down in southwest Michigan, they are in full swing. Everyone, the growers I've talked to, they said the asparagus looks great, tastes great. Up in Hart, so up in Oceana County, where about 80% of the state's asparagus is grown, they're just getting started. This cool weather that we've had, cooler nights, that makes it grow a lot slower. But that's okay because you get better asparagus.
Clover Adams encourages everyone to go buy local Michigan-grown asparagus next week. In Benzie County, Trevor Robideau, UpNorthLive News.
And speaking of the growing season, looking ahead to an event happening this weekend, you can experience a pretty fruitful service on Old Mission Peninsula in Traverse City. The Blessing of the Blossom ceremony has been an ongoing tradition for many, many years on the peninsula. The ceremony is held by St. Joseph Catholic Church and hope to bring a successful harvest season. The service will be led by Bishop Jeffrey Walsh from the Diocese of Gaylord and accompanied by Father Ben Rexroth. Take a listen.
Every farmer knows that you can work as hard as you want, but a certain amount of it is based on the weather and everything else that comes with that. And so asking for God's help to bring about that harvest that he wants.
And if you're interested, you can attend the Blessing of the Blossom ceremony at the church starting tomorrow at 1 p.m. Well, another big event happening this weekend, of course, Mother's Day is on Sunday. So our question of the day today is for all you moms out there. So for Mother's Day, what ideally would you want as a gift? Do you like flowers? Do you like cards? Maybe a nice spa treatment? Or maybe other? You can scan the QR code on your screen right now. That'll take you to our website where you can vote. And right now, 52% of voters said other. I'm assuming what other means to them is quality time. At least I know, like for my mom, she loves some flowers and like a nice card that will make her tear up, but she just really likes to spend time with her kids on Mother's Day. So we will take a look at those live results and some of your comments toward the end of the show, and you'll have much more on the forecast for Mother's Day weekend straight ahead.
I'm Jada Johnson from Big Boys TV, and the Fish and Game Report is sponsored by Johnson's Propane.
Well, it sure is a beautiful Friday weather-wise. Lots of sun in the skies and some warmer temperatures. And it's always nice to have a nice sunny Mother's Day weekend as well. And it sounds like this weekend will be exactly that.
Does that mean, Maya, that next year's is going to be not too good?
Well, last year's was pretty nice too.
Maybe we go 2 years and then, one in between.
Maybe. We'll see.
We'll take what happens this year, though. Yeah. Looks really nice, as we've been mentioning all week. It's going to be warm, too, especially by Sunday. Here's a look right now. This is Houghton Lake, Michigan's largest inland lake, 67 degrees. Lots of sunshine there. It was cold to start, though, and if you wondered about the frost last night, we talked about frost freeze conditions. Yeah, we definitely had some. These are the low temperatures last night into early this morning. And look at it, Grayling, for instance, got down to 23 degrees. So we did have 20s, low 30s, so there was a widespread frost freeze. That was last night. We're not going to get there tonight because temperatures tonight will be in the 40s. So no need to cover up the plants or anything like that tonight. We have a front. It's upstream of us. You can kind of see where we are there on the map. High pressure near Chicago tonight, and then upstream, just entering the western UP, is a cold front. That boundary looks like this on our satellite picture. It is kicking off a few clouds and even a couple of rain showers, just starting to get into areas north of the eastern UP and into the western portions of the UP. There's a look at this. You can see some of the showers here. And then areas here north of Newberry, up into parts of Canada there. A little bit of rain. I don't think we're looking at much rain out of this tonight, but there's the possibility for a shower or two. Like, it would be brief. So we're going to get this band of clouds passing by. It'll happen, 2-3 hours, it'll be gone. And then by morning, we're looking at pretty quiet weather. A little cloud cover may brush areas of northern Lake Huron up in the UP area. Then sunshine all day tomorrow. And you see the arrows, those green arrows, that's the wind direction. So a north wind tomorrow, and then watch on Sunday what happens. See how it turns back, does like a 180, and that turns our wind back out of the south, and that'll start warming things up. Nice day coming up Sunday, a little cloud cover up north in the morning, but a beautiful one. And then Monday too, early next week, lots of sun as we head into Monday afternoon. The offset to this is, of course, fire danger for the next several days, and I want to point out, you are allowed to have a campfire. I had some people write, you can't. No, you're allowed. You can have one, got to just be contained. But outdoor debris burning, things like that, are not allowed. And I took a look, the DNR burn permits map. No counties in northern Michigan are allowing burning permits now because of the dry weather that's coming in. But let's look at our rain chances. They do increase later next week. So, but and by that time, it probably is a good thing to get a little bit of rain. So there is that chance. And one more fun thing tonight. I don't know if you have plans, but hey, 10:22, head outside. Look in the southwest sky, and you probably will see the International Space Station. Well, I have plans now. I know about this. Yeah, you do. And it'll be gone by 10:29, moving to the east-northeast. That's tonight. I just hope that band of clouds, that cold front, doesn't affect it too much. And there we go. There's the warm-up heading into next week. Looks nice. Yes, starting Tuesday onward, then, there's the chance for a couple showers and thunderstorms.
All right, well, thank you so much, Joe. And all this nice weather has also been very great for baseball players across northern Michigan. We'll have highlights from Sports Director Harrison Beebe straight ahead. It's time to talk some sports with Harrison Beebe, who joins us live now from the Content Center. And Harrison, you were at Turtle Creek Stadium for the second day in a row today. You weren't trying more food, were you?
No, I did ask on the way in, though, if there was going to be any leftover food from the media tasting event, and they said, unfortunately, that was not going to be the case for the high school game that was going on. But yeah, pretty cool that, before the Pittsburghers get their season started at the end of the month, I know yesterday, Everett and Kalkaska were getting set to play a game while we were tasting the food for the media event, and today it was McBain and Cadillac squaring off. Teams got to drive a little ways, but it's a lot easier. I know teams get the opportunity sometimes to play at Comerica Park as well, and obviously if you make the state finals, you're playing on the campus of Michigan State for their college fields. But pretty cool for these guys to get the chance to play at Turtle Creek Stadium on that turf field and feel what it's like to be in a big-time element for a game. And yeah, the game definitely, as you can kind of tell by the way these highlights go, Cadillac, after a 0-0 game into 4 innings, Cadillac kind of pulled away. They led 5-0 at the end of the fourth when I left. So can be the case sometimes. You get a hot inning, you score a lot of runs. But either way, cool for McBain and Cadillac to be able to share that moment and be on the big stage together.
And will any other high school teams be playing here before the Pittsburghers do?
They usually schedule like 3 or 4. I don't know all the schedule offhand, but I just saw the teams last night entering the field. So yeah, teams will get that opportunity. But I do want to transition now to what we're going to be talking about later tonight. The Detroit Tigers. Maya, check out some of these stats. Tied for the best record in Major League Baseball entering tonight, 25-13, tied with the Dodgers, last year's World Series champions. 15-5 in their last 20 games, where they outscored their opponents 127-58. They're at plus 83 run differential, which is the best in the major leagues by like 20 runs. The next closest team is the Yankees. And obviously that helps when they outscored the Colorado Rockies like 29-9 in the last series they just had real quickly in Colorado. But playing the Texas Rangers right now, and Javi Baez wanted to shout out, the guy's taking a lot of grief in a Tiger uniform. He was a big free agent signing a couple years ago. Did not even take part in the end of the year run last year due to an injury. But now he's hitting 317. He's got 19 RBIs. Really turning it on right now as a big part of this Tiger team. Imagine if they played like they did the end of last year and we had an all-star Javi Baez in the middle of that lineup. This could be a serious good baseball team come October, if those things happen.
That would be awesome. Well, it's so great to see Javi and the entire Tigers team thriving. It's certainly been fun from a fan perspective. Thanks so much, Harrison, for that sports update. Let's take a quick commercial break, but we will check back in with our question of the day, the live results, and some of your comments straight ahead.
Salon services are furnished by Epiphany Advanced Academy in East Acme.
Well, Mother's Day is, of course, on Sunday, and we wanted to hear from all of our moms out there. What would your ideal Mother's Day gift be? You can see all the results on your screen right now. A lot of people like flowers or maybe a nice spa treatment, but more than half say other. And on Facebook, Jessica says she just wants her son saying, "Happy Mother's Day, Mom, I love you." Sarah says she would love a kiss and a hug. And on our live stream, Trina says, you know, she would just like to have Mother's Day off of work. And my mom also commented, I know she's just excited to spend the weekend with me in Traverse City. So, Mom, I'm so excited to see you. And I hope all you moms out there have a very lovely Mother's Day. And everyone have a great weekend. We'll see you back here on Monday.